Could a very big addition be headed its way for Drew and CM Punk's feud? We'll also check out what's going on with Randy Orton, the Mysterio family, and more. Starting things off with what could be added to Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's feud with each other. Drew and Punk have been at each other's necks for over 6 months now. CM Punk hasn't been cleared to compete since the Royal Rumble, but WWE has been continuing this feud between Drew McIntyre and himself throughout the last few months with Raw segments here and there, and even some social media content as well. A big theme of this feud so far has been CM Punk screwing Drew McIntyre out of some major things, such as WrestleMania 40, where Drew completed his mission and won the World Heavyweight title fair and square in the center of the ring. But instead of taking his title and celebrating in the back, he decided to come over to where CM Punk was sitting on commentary, rub it in Punk's face, and Punk eventually beat him down with one arm and made him pay for it. Of course, the beatdown from CM Punk led to Damian Priest cashing in his Money in the Bank contract, and Drew lost the world title after only 5 minutes. And then the very next night on Raw, CM Punk would make a surprise appearance by popping out from under the ring and screwing Drew McIntyre of becoming the #1 contender for the world title. So as you can see, there's been lots of big moments sprinkled in throughout Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's feud that's been revolving around the WWE World Heavyweight title. But what if this next step is including the World Heavyweight Championship in this feud between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk? It's very obvious that Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk will be the first match that Punk will have once he's cleared. So what if the plan is to include the world title into the fold? Drew McIntyre will be facing off against Damian Priest at Clash at the Castle for the world title in his home country. And surprisingly enough, Drew McIntyre is actually favored to walk out of the match as world champion. And if those things do unfold in that way, it would make CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre even more exciting, since that personal match and feud will now have the world title on the line. Maybe Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk for the world title will take place at SummerSlam, and that could set up the big moment of Punk dethroning Drew McIntyre. At that point, Punk costed Drew the title at WrestleMania 40, made him lose #1 contenders match, and now he would finally top it all off by dethroning Drew McIntyre as champion himself. There were a lot of rumors earlier in the year that CM Punk would have had his big WrestleMania moment by defeating Seth Rollins for the world title at the event, but due to injuries, that was unable to happen. But CM Punk winning the world title in another massive venue event like SummerSlam could be the next best thing for sure. And if that's the path WWE is going in with the world title, then you can't really complain because everyone won and had their moment. Damian Priest successfully cashed in, Drew won the title in front of his friends and family, and CM Punk would also have his own big moment of winning his first WWE world title in over a decade. It would be interesting if something like that was the direction. But we also can't forget that Gunther already has a promised WWE World Heavyweight title match scheduled for SummerSlam. They may throw a wrench into everyone's expectations for a big Drew and Punk title showdown, so that's something to remember. And even recently speaking with the Indian Express, Drew McIntyre teased that there may be some big reveals to come in this story with CM Punk. Drew said that he has bad history with CM Punk that the general public has no idea about. Drew claims that Punk hurt him both personally and professionally. So we should absolutely get that big reveal once the actual build for the match starts when Punk is cleared. So regardless if the world title is involved or not, it still looks like Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk will be a deep match with a lot of new reveals and backstories to it. Rey Mysterio recently sat down for an interview with Bleacher Report and revealed some more details about what's been going on in the Mysterio family household. One of the things Rey revealed was that his daughter Aalyah sometimes gets legitimately frustrated with the way Dominik Mysterio acts at home. According to Rey, Aalyah says that Dominik takes his WWE character too seriously and acts the same way that he acts on television at home. Ray says that Aalyah wants to slap it out of Dominik Mysterio sometimes. So fans were very humored to hear that Dominik is living and breathing his WWE character outside of the ring. As far as things go with Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio, they're on the same brand on Raw, so it feels like it's still only a matter of time before they collide with each other again down the line. Rey Mysterio is still being very vocal about his desire to put his mask and career on the line against Dominik and his hair. That would be a very exciting ending to the Rey and Dominik trilogy, so we'll have to see if WWE will take on Rey's big idea there. Randy Orton recently spoke with WrestleBinge and had some very interesting remarks to make about predicting a future world champion. Orton had this to say about the topic of future world champions, quote, "I don't have a crystal ball or anything, but Austin Theory is young and he's got a great look. I know where his head's at. I've had plenty of talks with him, and a lot of the things I did as a kid that I maybe shouldn't have, the distractions that I was confronted with, he doesn't have those. I think he's just a little more gung-ho, motivated, and he sees the goal. He sees the prize. He knows what he wants. And I think he'll definitely be a world champion one day. As far as someone becoming the youngest world heavyweight champion and taking that from me, I don't see that happening. Only because it was a very special circumstance when I became the youngest world champion. I was 24 years old, and I don't know if there's anyone young enough, so I think I'm going to hold out for that for quite some time. If not, from here on out." End quote. Randy Orton fully believes that Austin Theory will be a WWE World Champion one day because he can tell that he's focused and has no distractions in that way at all. Randy has been very vocal in the past about all the distractions he had as a young star, and he was still able to pull out some world title reigns at a young age. So he thinks it should be even easier for someone who isn't that problematic and doesn't have any distractions. And another matter that Randy Orton quickly spoke about there was how he himself went down in the history books as the youngest world champion in history at just 24 years old. Randy feels confident that no one younger than 24 will be winning a WWE world title. So he thinks no one is taking that away from his spot in history. And Randy may be onto something there. There's a lot of young talented superstars in WWE, but the thought of someone younger than 24 holding one of the main roster world titles for the men's division does seem like a pretty hard task. So we'll have to see if Randy is keeping that spot forever in the history books, or if a younger world champion will be crowned in the future. But what are your thoughts on today's wrestling news? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.